So what was your biggest surprise when it came to the process of the designing and developing of the website? So I know people go into this with like lots of expectations or thoughts about, oh, it's easy to put out like anything. I don't want to sway your answer, but
no.
What was your biggest surprise when it came to that part?
I think part of it was just, it's a huge learning curve for me because before this, I didn't have any website experience at all, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so it was my first time working with Shopify and just building up the website interface. And I think one of the biggest surprises, well, I would say the biggest surprise is just, it's not even about the work itself, but I think it's just making sure that you know exactly what you want before, because to be honest, I didn't really know what I was doing in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it translated into the first iteration of the website. It was like we had some things here and there, but the brand messaging it wasn't as cohesive as we wanted it to be. And then so I think that after seeing a look and then just talking to a bunch of potential customers of what they thought about the website, it was clear that the brand messaging got a little bit lost.
Diluted, yes.
Yeah, which is why we're like, okay, well, if it doesn't work the first time, let's try again on the second. And I would say the second iteration turned out to be a lot better because what we did was we took into consideration what everybody was telling us or what our customers were telling us. And then we tried to implement it and try to implement those elements into our second website. And I have to say that the second website was much better received because, well, at the end of the day, we ended up getting a few more sales from that. Whereas with the first website,
definitely, told the story, I think, in a stronger way, and showcased sort of the elements of the brand that were the most important. Like it showcased it a lot better. So basically, you ended up doing basically what lots of people do over the course of X amount of time of after launching the site and gathering feedback, being able to revamp and rejig messaging and imagery and all that stuff. So we essentially had 2 iterations. So we had the first kind of website launch, got feedback, and then we were able to go in, and we didn't do actually a whole bunch of we didn't have to go in and redesign much. We just basically sort of pulled out the elements that were important, rejigged sort of the formats of the story that was being told, and just made these tweaks that, which most people should be doing is getting feedback, listening to people who are the people who are going to be using the website and buying product. So I always say it's great to ask your mom or your grandma or your niece or whoever, just making sure that those people are actually the people who are going to be using it, because it's better to get almost a fresh set of eyes of unbiased opinion on it. So that's what you did, which was great because we were able to take tangible feedback and just make some tweaks to make it a way better experience in terms of getting the message out and the brand out. But what would you say you learned, or what advice would you have for someone who is in your shoes but a year ago, or now kind of a year and a half ago? So
so I was thinking about this.
What advice or what have you learned? What would you share with someone who's like Elaine, but like a year and a half ago, sparking this idea?
I would say part of it is just making sure that there's so many learning lessons, I have to say.
Okay, you can share a few.
I would say this, actually. The biggest lesson that I've learned as a budding entrepreneur is really to be able to surround yourself with good quality people. And what I mean by that is, it's one thing to look on Google and find whoever it is for whatever price, at whatever ratings, because ratings I don't even really trust anymore.
I know.
But you try your best to find people online, but it's not the same as if you were actually to talk to them in person and meet them face to face. Because at the end of the day, the best types of businesses, at least in my philosophy, are the ones where you can establish long-term relationships. And I guess at least I've been in situations where, okay, on the surface it seems okay, but then after maybe the second meeting, you're like, okay, yeah, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
And it could be just something that I don't know. It's trusting your gut. It's you just get the sense that they're out to kind of
you just get you do a gut check. I think you can really check. And then side note too, for anyone listening or people, but you did a lot of actually travel to meet with people. You went out of your way to make sure that you were doing that no matter where in the world they were.
Diligence, because what I see is, investing that extra maybe $1,000, $2,000 just to do a site facility inspection
Mm-hmm.
can save you a lot of headache in the long run.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, you know, what happens if, say, for example, your warehouse, I don't know, somebody steals your inventory?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hypothetically speaking. Or, you know, if, say, for example, the manufacturers and the partners that you work with, they are printing extra labels under your company and shipping it off somewhere, or they have really dirty facilities.
Yeah.
And there's no way that you can really know that just by searching on a website online, because, you know, at the end of the day, that's, you know, like their face.
Yeah.
You actually have to do a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
And I know obviously, like, you know, it varies from industry to industry, but because I am in the health industry and I am looking for really good quality products, I really wanted quality to be part of the whole packaging.
Mm-hmm.
It was really important for me to make sure that whoever I was doing business with, um, that they're also trustworthy and they have, you know, good values, and they're not shady, or they don't,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they keep their facilities clean
Mm-hmm.
and they're
And you
efficient.
did travel to like Elaine went to
Yeah.
like Italy and to Spain.
Yeah,
Like
to
you,
check out
so
the
there's
manufacturers. I
the
really
face to,
wanted to
yeah,
make sure that
yeah.
whatever I was providing the customer at the end of the day is a product that I know that I can
Mm-hmm.
use and I
Mm-hmm.
can trust, and I can actually vouch for them as well. That's like a
Mm-hmm.
very important thing. And I
Yeah.
think that just having that network, you feel a lot more assured later on that you're at least doing the right thing for the customer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one thing to have like the brand and the messaging, but if you have like a bad quality product, it's going to show very easily,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. And that's kind of goes
And
back to what we were talking about with like
yeah,
branding, packaging, website. That's all great. And we can make that look great and function very well. But
yeah,
if your product doesn't stand up to those standards,
those like I
there's
guess that
nothing.
those messages or those things that you claim,
Yeah.
it's like building a foundation of sand, right? It's going
Yeah.
to really disintegrate
It will
really.
crumble. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Any other lessons or advice that you'd give to someone a year and a half ago?
I would say, you know, it's I would say this. I've made a lot of mistakes in my first year. Just like I guess just learning, and like, you know, maybe there's some delays here and there. But the most important thing is, even if you make mistakes, just to keep in there, hang on tight, because, you know, a lot of people who are in business and who make it really big, or who do really well, it's not because they're super smart or super
Lucky.
talented or whatever it is. It's really just hard work and consistency.
Yeah.
Just being able to be mentally tough enough to say that I can do this for another day.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's totally, perseverance
yeah,
is so key.
yeah, it's just not to give up, because
Yeah.
you never know. I think, like, you know, I had another friend who was doing a business and he didn't get any sales for 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was so psychologically tough for him. He ended up having to go back to work full time,
Mm-hmm.
and he was working, like, you know, on the business on the side, and eventually he made his first sale.
Mm-hmm.
But I think part of it is that you have to be able to be psychologically tough enough to be
Yeah.
able to accept situations like that, because not every day is rosy and glamorous as they show you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, you know, you're driving fancy cars in California. If
Making
anything,
money while you sleep, and yeah.
yeah, it's not like that. For most people, that's not a reality. Most people, you know, you're just doing the day in, day out, maintaining
Mm-hmm.
your website, answering emails,
Mm-hmm.
you know, processing orders, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, it's okay. You know, I think that if you see things through and there is a customer demand, things
Mm-hmm.
will fall through for you. You just
Mm-hmm.
have to bat it and continue to tweak your and tailor your brand and message, and you'll get there.
Since you've kind of launched Lily Pad, since we sort of finished our project, you've launched now, what to this date, maybe like now, but what's been your biggest accomplishment, would you say, in terms of through the lens of Lily Pads? Because I know you're pregnant. That's a very big that's a very big
It's a
accomplishment.
very, yeah.
It's a very
But
big celebration, but we'll
yeah,
keep you in Lily Pads.
you know what? I've always wanted to eventually be financially independent. I know that that sounds like really shishi, but I think especially having worked in the corporate life
Yeah.
for so long, and being able to be given this opportunity to really try to, you know, break away from the chains, as you
Yeah.
will. I think that's like a really big thing. And I think that just building lily pads from the foundation up it's been a really big gift and a big learning experience for
Mm-hmm.
me personally.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade it for the world, honestly speaking. I think that having the chance to run your own business has been
Mm-hmm.
really enriching and very rewarding. And the fantastic thing is that you get to meet really good quality people
Yes.
in every industry as well.
Yeah.
And um, it really develops you a lot as a person. I found that like before I only had like maybe 2 or 3 skills that you take on from corporate.
Yeah.
Now I find that I'm a lot more well-rounded as
Yeah.
well.
It really shifts something in your mindset, I think,
Yeah.
when you take that on yourself. But I think lily pads, honestly, just in general, I think has been such a huge accomplishment. And I can
It
say this
has.
after, I've worked with, I think at this point in my career, like I'm well over 80 plus businesses that I've worked with and that I've helped with, design, brand, website, whatever the case may be. But you've put a lot of heart and soul into the business. And I
Yeah.
think just like, make sure that you give yourself enough credit for the amount of
Yeah.
passion and soul that is driving this business.
Yeah,
Because
we did a lot. Like honestly, like if I reflect back to
yeah,
the last year, like I
yeah,
say, the packaging, the design, the branding voice,
yeah,
the style guide, the
yes.
insert,
And I
it
think
was
I've even
a
throughout the
long
course
list
of
of people.
a lot, even through the course of the past year and whatever it's been now, a bit over a year, I think I've even told you on a few occasions, just like it will pay off. It's like that perseverance. Like I'm just like, I know it's a lot of work, the perseverance
Yeah,
pays off. And
it
that's
is.
sort of the overarching kind of message, is that it just takes some momentum. Like it just takes a bit of a snowball effect, but it will get
Yeah.
there.
And honestly, like for me, I mean, sales are important to any business owner,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just happy enough the fact that it's something that's available to women all across North America.
Yeah.
That was like a big thing for me.
Yeah.
I mean, whether or not you buy it, or if you already have your own period products, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But just having it available for those women who are just curious to try out something new, or they
Mm-hmm.
want to try to better their health in some way,
Yeah.
that's a good starting point. And I'm happy to be part of that experience for some women who are able to make that or ready to make that transition.